I don't really need this. So so we're going to do a meditation now, meditation on impermanence. So I will be talking along the way and then giving you some time to contemplate the different points that I mentioned. So just do the best you can to stay focused, concentrated, awake, alert as much as possible. Yeah, so even though this is what we call an analytical meditation, so it's like a thinking meditation, we're using more thinking thought, but still during this kind of meditation, we need to stay concentrated in the sense that we need to stay focused on what we're meditating on and not be thinking about other things. So, of course, other thoughts will come. So any thoughts that come which aren't related to the meditation, like, what you're going to do later tonight or what you're going to do tomorrow or whatever. So just say, oh, that's a thought, thinking, and then leave it aside, put it aside, and come back to the meditation itself. Okay, so sit comfortably, but try to sit with your back straight and let the shoulders relax. And again, try to get into the same state of relaxation that we had before as much as possible. Try not to have tension anywhere in your body, but try to have your body feeling light, free of tension, like a cloud. And let's start by paying attention to the breath as we were doing before. Just focusing on the breath and being aware of the breath coming in and going out. Bringing the mind back to the breath when it wanders away to something else. So we can start to become more aware of impermanence just by watching the breath itself. The breath itself is an impermanent phenomena. So when we breathe in, we are breathing in certain molecules of air. They come inside of our body, our lungs, and they get changed. And then when we breathe out, we're also breathing out molecules of air, which have been changed, which are different than the ones we breathed in. And this is happening with every breath. Every breath, we're breathing in certain molecules, breathing out certain molecules, and these molecules are changing. They're not the same from one moment to the next. And also, as we are breathing, there are different things happening in our body, different perceptions, different sensations. So just continue to observe the breath coming in and going out, and do it with this added awareness of impermanence, of how there's change taking place each and every moment, each fraction of a moment. So just try to be aware of the changes that are taking place with each breath. And then expand your awareness to the whole of your body and contemplate the impermanence of your body. So our body is made up of many, many different parts. Some of these parts are visible. We can see them, like our skin and hair and nails and so forth. And if the body is opened up, we could see all the organs and the bones and blood and so forth. So those parts of the body are visible to us. And then those parts themselves are made up of smaller parts, such as cells. There's millions or maybe billions of cells in our body, and these are so tiny we can't see them with our naked eye, only under a microscope. And then the cells themselves are made of parts, such as molecules and atoms and subatomic particles like quarks, strings. So these super tiny parts which come together to make bigger parts and so on and so forth. And especially on the very subtle level, like the cells and the molecules and the atoms. So there's constant change taking place. These are phenomena that are moving and changing constantly. They don't stay the same from one moment to the next. And because they are the things that make up our body, they're like the building blocks that make up our skin and blood and bones and organs and so forth. That means all the parts of our body are changing constantly. They're not the same from one moment to the next. So this isn't something we can directly see or directly experience, but we can know about it intellectually, conceptually. So just sit and be aware of your body and try to have this awareness that each and every moment, or tiny fraction of a moment, there's change taking place everywhere in your body, all throughout your body, meaning your body is not the same from one moment to the next. It's constantly changing. And as our body is changing, it's getting older, not younger. So moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour, our body is getting older, degenerating. So that's not a nice thing to think about. We don't like to think about that, but it's better to accept it. And now let's look at the impermanence of our mind. So our mind is also impermanent, and it's changing moment by moment. We can't see it with our eyes, but we can observe it just with our mind itself. So the way the mind changes is that each moment there are different experiences that come, and they last just a moment, and then they go, they disappear, they stop. But then the next moment arises, and the next moment, and so on. So there's just this continuous, unbroken stream of experiences. That's what our mind is. That's the nature of our mind. It's just this stream of different experiences arising and passing moment by moment. So just try to watch your mind, watch whatever's happening in your mind. It could be thoughts or memories or feelings, sensations in your body, hearing sounds, and so on. So just be aware of the changing stream of your experiences moment by moment. And the things outside of us and around us are also impermanent. So just let your awareness expand beyond your own body and mind. And we can start by just thinking about this room that we're sitting in and what's in this room. So there are other people, and they have bodies and minds just like ours, basically made of the same stuff. And that means they're changing moment by moment. They're not the same from one moment to the next. And then the things in the room, including the room itself, the floor and the walls and the ceiling, the windows, the doors, and then all the furnishings, tables and cushions and paintings on the walls, books on the bookshelves, lights. So all of these are physical things, material things, and that means they're made of particles, molecules and atoms and subatomic particles. And on that very subtle level of atoms and so on, there's change taking place. These tiny little particles don't stay still. They're not like frozen, but they're moving and changing every minute, every second, every nanosecond. And so since they are moving and changing, that means these bigger objects, tables and so forth, they are also changing. Even though they look very solid, they look like they're the same and they're not changing. But on the very, very subtle level, they are changing. So just contemplate that and try to get a sense of how all the things around us in this room, in this building, are impermanent. They're changing every single moment. And being impermanent, just like our body, means that they are degenerating. They're getting older, worn down, and they're not going to last forever. At some point, all these things will go out of existence. They will not be here forever. Then open up your awareness even more and think about all the things around us in the world. So the world itself, this planet, Earth, and all the things growing on the earth, like trees and mountains and the water, the oceans and rivers and so forth, all the plants, all the animals, all the people, all the buildings and roads and bridges and cars and houses and so forth. So all the things on this earth and the earth itself, as well as the things out in space, the sun, the moon, the stars, and so forth. So all these things are also impermanent. They're made up of tiny particles atoms, subatomic particles, they're constantly changing every minute, every second, not staying the same from one moment to the next. So now ask yourself, if you can find anything, think of anything that isn't impermanent, that doesn't change but stays the same, like frozen and unchanging. That's a good example of impermanence. So how about if you just get into little groups of twos or threes and just talk about this idea of impermanence and what it means to you, how it affects you, what you think about it. And just share whatever you found useful or interesting about it for 5 minutes. two talk with each other? Is
Okay.
that okay?
Okay, so yeah, it's getting a little bit sometimes
hvad gør det ved dig? Hvad er det for en oplevelse, du har, når du tænker på det?
Sometimes I used to, as an exercise, to think back. For instance, when I was 8 years or 40, and visualize my surroundings, friends, and school.
Er det
Almost nothing left. Unbelievable. But it
så det bliver, altså grænserne bliver lidt mindre
like one day
faste,
has made
når
a
tingene
difference.
er foranderlige og bevæger sig.
But many
It becomes very tangible over the course of many years.
your surroundings change. Oh yeah.
Ja, det kan jeg også godt.
I Google. Oh yeah. Means you have some kind of trust. You have made some good experiences.
Ja. Det bliver hurtigt sådan
Maybe.
intellektuelt på en eller anden måde, eller sådan, altså impermanence, det giver mening. Ja, det er logisk, men jeg bliver alligevel stadig overrasket, når min cykel ikke står dernede, når jeg kommer ned.
You don't get involved. Or you do.
Ja.
You don't think.
No, I have no problem.
Nej, men og jeg synes også, altså i nogle perioder, så fylder det mere end andre, men altså, jeg ved ikke, jeg synes i øjeblikket, at det er længe siden, jeg sådan har tænkt på det som noget, der sådan, altså for
I
jeg
mean, you must have some
betydning
kind
i hver dag,
of.
eller sådan noget. Altså,
Have you also meditated on
Yeah,
den der følelse
I'll call it you.
at jeg skal dø, for eksempel, den ligger mig ret fjern i øjeblikket, så det er længe siden, at jeg sådan har haft en mere sådan grund, eller sådan en mere dyb fornemmelse, eller sådan, ja, følelse af, at det her faktisk er en permanent. Altså, jeg tror ikke, jeg tænker så meget over det hver dag, at altså, ja, ja, det kan være ret, altså det er jo rigtigt, som hun har sagt til at starte med, det kan være ekstremt kraftfuldt, altså det kan jo virkelig, altså ændre ens liv totalt, hvis man virkelig fanger det her på sådan et erfaringsmæssigt eller erkendelsesmæssigt plan, altså sådan ligesom en svarende til en nærhedsoplevelse, eller sådan noget,
The
eller
most important about the physical thing, you know, where our attachment was. And I must admit,
That's why people love it so much.
there's
It's
some
the most,
extraordinary
it's not
things.
100%, but
The
it's
music,
the most permanent thing.
Jo, man kan lige pludselig, jo, men ja, altså at
It's
man
the hardest stone.
bliver
It's the hardest stone.
altså rusket lidt i, altså
Beautiful.
er det, altså gør jeg det, jeg gerne vil, altså når jeg vågner op i morgen, tænker jeg så på min dag, så vil jeg tænke på den anderledes, hvis jeg vidste, det var min sidste dag, så skulle jeg gøre noget andet. Det vil jeg jo sandsynligvis, hvis jeg vidste, det var min absolut sidste dag, men det er jo ikke nødvendigvis det samme som, at jeg så skal leve alle mine dage sådan, men altså velvidende, at der i hvert fald er, altså ikke uendelig mange dage at tage, og så har jeg de vigtigste ting i mit liv, altså.
It's very magic. It's the most magical. It's the king. Diamond is king.
Yeah.
Yeah, very old.
Yeah.
And very pure.
Nej, så bliver det hurtigere den sidste. Ja, ja, præcis. Ja, det er sådan, den viden, at det også godt kan være, at der er bagefter, som skal fuck det hele om. Bare sådan vågne op dagen efter. What did I do?
Well, the spin comp is very impermanent.
Ja, ja, præcis.
It goes around and it falls out.
But the hangovers.
Men jeg tror måske, at der er det jo because it's so accessible.
Yeah, on the internet, and there's YouTube, and they get everything.
Previously, I remember I still have some of that I like books I like and music I like would like to have.
Yeah.
So, but that was, I mean, it's not as important
Yeah.
as it was.
Yeah.
I used to remember.
Men det ville også være lidt mærkeligt, hvis vi gjorde det hver dag.
Oh,
Ja.
Hear it.
so that's change.
It's not just what is
And if you're interested in the teachings of David, so that's also impermanent. You never heard about these teachings? The Buddha Amitabha.
Okay,
You
ja.
heard about
Ja.
David, this mental reality is played.
Hvordan havde hun det med det? Eller så må snakke om det. Ja.
And this physical is world
Og det pas
separate
på med at dømme
compared
andres
to the sun.
Ja,
gang, ikke?
ja. Ja, det kan være meget befriende på en eller anden måde, at kunne tale om det i det mindste, ikke? Altså, at, ja, det kan godt være. Altså, jeg snakker nogle gange med min farmor om det, og hun er 93 år, ikke?
So I don't
Helt klar i hovedet, men altså jo, det ville være, altså, der er jo ikke nogen af os, der vil blive overrasket, hvis hun en dag vågnede op. Men også sådan snakke lidt om, jamen altså, hvad du, altså, hvis det er din sidste dag, altså, er det så, er du okay med det? Ja, det er hun faktisk ret okay med, og ja, vi snakker også om nogle gange, at det ikke bliver, at jeg siger farvel til hende, altså, siger vi ikke ses igen, eller sådan noget, vi snakker om, at det er jo egentlig været
So maybe that was a bit short, not enough time to really discuss, but yeah, very permanent. Yeah. Anyway, it said that it's good to try to keep impermanence in mind and then just, look for signs of it all around and just to have that awareness that things are not as they appear. I mean, it looks like things are permanent, like this table, it doesn't look like there's much happening there. It's the same table every day, every month, and so on. But, thinking about the nature of it, what it's made up of and how these tiny particles are changing helps us to understand that it's not permanent. So it's very beneficial to be aware of impermanence, because then when things do change, especially in a big way, we won't be so shocked and so upset about it. If we really familiarize ourselves with impermanence, then when even a death, somebody dies, of course it'll still be very sad. We'll be very sad about losing that person, but because we've already thought about impermanence and how things don't last forever, we'll be less upset, less shocked, less traumatized by that. And the same with changes that happen in our life, losing a job or losing a possession or something breaking down, falling apart. Preparing ourselves with the understanding of impermanence just really helps to be more cool and calm and relaxed about changes that happen in life. So it's very helpful. Any last questions before we finish?
It's a bit off topic, but I'm curious about last trips you've had to India, the holy places you mentioned. I only know a few of them, so I'm just curious about
Where are they? Well, the four main ones are Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha attained enlightenment, Lumbini, where he was born, Kushinagar, where he passed away, and then Sarnath, where he gave his first teaching. So those are the four main places, and they say if you, it's really good if you can to go to those four places in this lifetime. The other ones, the other four, I can't remember. Rajgir might be one of them, where he gave the perfection of wisdom teachings. Vaishali, I forget the other two, but there are books about. Even in the FPMT, I think there's a book about going on pilgrimage and what the places are and what prayers and practices you can do in each place. Yeah.
Maybe we should arrange a trip.
Yeah. She'll be happy to see all her friends. Yeah.
Yes, I had one comment because the way we have been speaking about impermanence tonight is very much with a focus on the maybe the good things that or the things that are already there in our life, that if we lose those, then we won't be as affected by it. But I think also it can be very helpful to think of, that's at least my latest experience with the impermanence, where it has been helpful for me, is to think when I am experiencing suffering, that this too will
Yeah.
cease to exist. It can also be like
Yeah.
soothing in a
It's
way.
not going to
that,
last forever.
Wow, yeah.
Sure,
I
sure.
know that it will change eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say before the break, was that, if we look at our, I guess, physical suffering, maybe you're thinking of, but also the mental suffering, the problems, whatever it is, it's not going to last forever. And that's the good side of impermanence as well, because it means we can change. If things were not impermanent, if they were permanent, we'd have to be like this forever. Miserable and unenlightened and circling in samsara. But the good news is we can change this situation. We can get out of it. We can reach enlightenment. So it's very positive if you think about it in that way.
And you were saying that the first part, when we were, you said the Buddha said permanence was the most important, and he said that put that above even love and compassion.
Well, he didn't say that. I said that, but I mean, because he said of all contemplations, impermanence is the greatest. So then I just kind of, yeah.
You mentioned love and compassion is one, and then you mentioned the second one. I can't remember that one.
Emptiness.
Emptiness. Oh,
I mean, I'm just
that's good though.
guessing that, I mean, I don't think he meant that those are not important, but I just thought it's interesting that he said this is the most important, this is the greatest. Maybe it's more in terms of to get us started on the path. It's a good, push to get started on this spiritual path.
I guess it's also the biggest illusion, isn't it? That there isn't that our ego likes to think things are forever.
Yeah.
So it's the ultimate illusion.
Okay.
Time is the most permanent thing that we have on Earth.
Physical thing, yeah. But it too is impermanent.
Yeah.
It's made of particles, so they're changing. But they say it's the hardest thing, isn't it? It's really hard.
And actually, it bends light the most without distorting it. So it actually slows down the speed of light. So it actually holds light inside of it. So it is magical.
Hmm.
But it's still not ultimately. Ultimately, two fades away.
It used to be coal.
Yeah, coal. And it's also carbon, which we're made out of. So it's carbon taken to the ultimate perfection. But one other thing I'd just like to say it because it's been a mystery to me that generally when we think of rainbow bodies and we think of higher realms.
realms we think that they're in some way superior to the physical realm, but if you're working like with photography and stuff, and you want to use gold and silver for instance, for mirrors and stuff, you can't get gold and silver with prisms. You can only get it physically with metals. Like if you're making a painting or something, gold and silver, you can't reproduce it photographically or with computers or with. You can only make it physically with metals. It's kind of a mystery why it's like that.
Hmm. Okay. Think about that. Yeah.
Problem is that you can't. Yeah, but you're talking about like in the God realms, there are all these beautiful rainbow color stuff. You can't reproduce gold and silver only physically with metals. Especially if you want to make them clear, gold or silver, to metal, metal's physical. It's been a mystery for me for a long time.
Okay. Okay. So let's finish the class tonight by just making a dedication of the positive energy we have accumulated here tonight by doing meditation, especially starting with an altruistic intention or motivation, wanting to benefit others in the world and so on. So we've definitely created some good energy here tonight, merit, as we call it in Buddhism, and this is the cause of happiness and spiritual growth. So let's share our merit with others, with all living beings, wishing that they could all gain all the positive qualities like love and compassion and wisdom and so on, and become free of all the negative qualities like greed, hatred, ignorance, and so on. So in that way, may they become free of their suffering and the causes of suffering and achieve real peace and happiness and ultimately enlightenment. So may what we have done here tonight help ourselves and others get closer to enlightenment. Thank you for coming tonight. And I just want to mention a couple of things. This Sunday is a special day in the Buddhist calendar. It's a day in the life of the Buddha, commemorating some wonderful things that he did, showing miraculous powers, not to show off, but in order to um, uh, it's anyway, it's a long story, but it's a special day. And it said that any positive energy created on this day is multiplied many times. But because there's the center's being used for other things on Sunday, we're going to celebrate it on Saturday night. So we'll do a practice related to the Buddha. It won't be very long, just 7:30 to 8:30, meditating on the Buddha. 7:30 on Saturday night. We'll just be doing a practice related to the Buddha and visualizing the Buddha, reciting the Buddha's name and mantra and so on. So if you're interested, you're welcome to come, and we'll make some special offerings. So you're welcome to bring offerings if you wish. So that's Saturday. Yeah. And then tomorrow is Tibetan Uprising Day. The 10th of March is the day in 1959 when Tibetan people in Lhasa kind of rose up against the Chinese oppressors trying to save the Dalai Lama, who was in danger of being killed. And so this is commemorated every year by the Tibetans to just remember their struggle for freedom. So I found out there's actually a demonstration here in Copenhagen. There's some groups here, Friends of Tibet and so forth. So, and it will be in Newtorf, just down the road, from 3 to 6. So yeah, And so I thought I would like to come and just show solidarity with the Tibetans. Are there Tibetans here? It says there's a Tibetan, um, I forget the title, but a group of Tibetans, and then there's students for Free Tibet, and a few groups are coming together to organize this. So, any other announcements?
I saw this, Lama Dorji showed me this thing, and he says it's true, but other people say they think it might be a Facebook creation, but it was a picture of Trump. He had this sign, and he said it was saying that all Tibetans were welcome to come and live in the United States. And all Buddhists who practice love and compassion are invited to come and live in the United States. And he was having the sign, and I haven't been able to find out if it's true or not.
It's probably a joke.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I mean they can create all the with Photoshop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Lama Dorji, he told me that he talked to some other lamas in the Tibetan community. They thought it was true. So I'm a little bit puzzled.